Hallmark and the fine stores Hallmark products. Hallmark, when you care enough to send the very best.
Don't come in here, I'm wrapping presents.
The gifts we give one another mean so much. This Christmas, show them how much you care by creating special packages with the gift wrappings of Hallmark.
Looks like Dad's been a very good boy.
Hallmark has a way to make your holiday.
Is somebody out there?
Not out here. Hi, Mom. Hallmark has a
Hi, hon.
way. I never had any friends. When will it be spring? We'll be driven out, like from the Garden of Eden. I'm going to read you this lovely story about a Raja and a tiger.
I just had the most marvelous idea. After the governor's ball, why don't we go for a breakfast picnic along the river?
Oh, yeah, for that.
I don't think I should feel like a picnic after dancing all night.
Nonsense.
Besides, I shan't be going to the ball. Stephen has booked me a passage to England. He says there's some kind of plague in the provinces.
Oh, there's always some kind of plague in the provinces, Mrs. Crawford. I wouldn't let that stop me from going to the ball. I don't know what's got into the servants. Harry, could you see why they aren't answering the bell?
Dead. Oh, there's no one to dress me or give me breakfast.
The servants may have taken the child with them.
She's here, Colonel. She's alive.
Of course I'm alive, but Saeed is dead, so I shall need a new ayah.
Poor child.
I'm not a poor child, I'm Mary Lennox, and my father has a very important position at Government House.
She doesn't know, Colonel.
I'm afraid there's no easy way to tell you this, child. I'm very sorry, my dear, but your parents are dead.
Oh, my dog! My dog! Now give me my dog!
She doesn't understand, Colonel.
Hardly surprising. Look, we'll take you to Mrs. Crawford. She can look after you until other arrangements are made.
Give me my dog! Give me my dog!
Get her up here, son.
My dog!
Mary, you haven't touched your tea. Are you not hungry?
No.
She's just over there, madam.
Mrs. Crawford?
You must be Mrs. Medlock. Please do sit down.
Thank you.
Mary, This is Mrs. Medlock, who is going to take you to Yorkshire tomorrow.
And Mr. Craven said to thank you for bringing the little girl, Ma'am.
Oh, it would have been unkind not to, since I was returning to England anyway. Will you have some tea?
No, thank you.
And what time will you be calling for Mary tomorrow?
The train leaves at 7, so I'll be here at 6.
So early. Mary, will you be good enough to ask the desk clerk to send the porter for your trunk a little before 6? She's a difficult child, Mrs. Medlock. But to be fair, it's not entirely her fault. If her mother had carried her pretty face into the nursery more often, Mary might not be quite so recalcitrant.
Neglected her, did she?
I know that one should not speak ill of the dead, but Mrs. Lennox was a very silly and shallow woman. She was embarrassed that Mary was plain, at least in her eyes. And Mary knew it.
Pity.
Yes. It's kind of Mr. Craven to take Mary, especially since they're not related.
Oh, there's no living relative. But as old Mr. Craven and Captain Lennox's father were dear friends, until they both passed on, young Mr. Craven felt obliged to give the little girl a home.
I've got some nice watercress sandwiches. Would you like one?
I don't like English food, only Indian.
Well, English food is all you'll be getting at Misselthwaite Manor, so you better get used to it. Oh, it was different when Mrs. Craven was alive. She had cook make all sorts of foreign dishes. They took the recipe out of books. Mr. Archibald, Mr. Craven, that is, he didn't mind. Oh, she was such a sweet, pretty thing. Nobody ever thought she'd marry him, not with that hump on his back. But she did.
It's like a French fairy tale I once read. Riquet de la Haute. It was about a hunchback and a beautiful princess.
So, there is something that interests you.
I didn't say I was interested.
These are the Moors.
The Moors are ugly.
Did your father ever tell you about Misselthwaite Manor?
Why should he? He didn't know he was going to die and I'd have to live there.
Very well, then. I will. Misselthwaite Manor is a grand place. It was built ages ago and has over 100 rooms.
I don't give a tinker's damn how many rooms there are.
Your manners could use improving.
I don't have to be polite to servants.
Mind yourself, Missy. I'm Mr. Craven's housekeeper and servant to no one. I'll overlook your bad manners this once, seeing as how you've been through so much sadness. Not that you'll find much joy at Misselthwaite Manor. Mr. Archibald still grieves for his wife and won't trouble himself with anyone.
Have a good trip, Mrs. Medlock.
I've had worse. Fetch Miss Mary's trunk and use the back stairs.
I'll tiptoe all the way. I wouldn't want to wake the dead.
You're to take her directly to her rooms. He doesn't want to see her, and he'll be leaving for London in the morning.
As long as I know what's expected of me, Mr. Pitcher.
All that's expected, Mrs. Medlock, is that you make certain that Mr. Archibald is not disturbed, and that he doesn't see what he doesn't want to see.
Well, there's a revelation. Come on. This is where you're going to live, Miss Mary. This is your bedroom. And your sitting room's just through there. These rooms were especially prepared for you. Oh, what's here? Little supper's been laid out for you. You must be tired, so eat it and go to bed. Good night. You can go anywhere you like in this wing of the house, but you're not to go poking around anywhere else. Mr. Archibald won't have it, and neither will I. Is that understood?
In a moment, we will return to The Secret Garden, this evening's special presentation on the Hallmark Hall of Fame.
The Christmas cards of Hallmark. Traditional cards and religious cards. Simple cards, fancy cards, even funny cards. Cards that say things just the way you want to say them. Cards that show how much you really care about your family and your friends. The most ways and the very best ways to express your feelings at Christmas. Hallmark has a way.
Awesome. Hi.
So how'd you do your hair? Jumper cables?
How do you say I blew it? How do you read your words?
What'd I say?
How can you say I'm sorry?
What'd I do?
In a way she's never heard.
Hallmark presents To Kids with Love Cards. A wonderful way to tell kids anything from you're doing great to you're on my mind.
Hallmark has a way to make somebody's day, making every word ring true.
You're growing up so fast that I sometimes forget you're not a little kid anymore. I'm sorry if I treated you like one. Love, Daddy. Dad.
Hallmark has a way to make somebody's day. Hallmark has a way.
And now, the Hallmark Hall of Fame continues with The Secret Garden, starring Jenny James.
Morning, Mr. Withstaff.
Morning, Dickon. Wishing the day in with a song?
Just saying hello to the morning. If you got a minute, I'll show you a trick I just learned.
I've work waiting on me at the manor.
Please?
Guess the work will wait till I get there.
Take yourself elsewhere, Stuart.
Good trick. Especially the last part. I'm off. See you around, Dickon.
See you about, Mr. Withstaff.
morning, miss.
Who are you?
Martha. Martha Selby.
Are you going to be my servant?
I'm to do a bit of cleaning up here and a bit of waiting on you. Though, judging by your size, you won't need much waiting on, will you?
Of course I'll need to be waited on. Someone has to dress me.
Can you not dress yourself?
Of course I can. But in India, my ayah dressed me.
Well, you're in Yorkshire now, and children dress themselves as soon as they're out of nappies. You'll find some lovely new garments in the cupboard. Warm ones, bought by Mrs. Medlock on Mr. Archibald's orders.
I thought he troubled himself with no one.
He don't. It was Mrs. Medlock who told him you'd not have proper clothing for the cold since you're coming from India. And it was she who had these rooms fixed up all pretty for you. I know you was wore out from your journey, so I hope you had a good sleep.
How could I sleep with all that crying and moaning? This is a haunted house, isn't it?
It was the wind you heard withering across the moors. It often makes a mournful sound. You best eat your breakfast before it gets cold.
I don't like English food.
I've 9 little brothers and sisters who eat the table clean in a minute.
9 brothers and sisters?
Yeah. No doubt there'd be more if me dad hadn't died in his prime. Feeding that bruised heart of me mother, but Dickon's a help.
Who's Dickon?
He's one of our gaggle of children. He leaves what food there is for the others, and he feeds himself out on the moors. He says the wild goats give him their milk, and there's lovely greens and berries all his for the taking.
He sounds peculiar.
He's a rare boy, Dickon. He talks to the animals, and they talk back.
That's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
And when he plays his panpipe, wild animals stop and listen.
Animals can't talk, and they don't listen to music.
I told you Dickon was a rare boy.
I didn't dismiss you.
You'll be making your own bed up, then?
You have my permission to go on with your work.
Queen couldn't have said it best for herself.
I have nothing to do.
There's plenty of gardens you can go and play in, except for the one that's locked.
How can a garden be locked?
It can if there's a high wall round it. You better dress up warm if you're going out. March can be a cruel month in Yorkshire.
Doing?
You got eyes? I'm turning the earth for planted vegetables when the spring comes.
It doesn't surprise me you're rude. All the servants here seem to be rude.
I take it you're the little wench just come from India.
I'm not a little wench. I'm Mary Lennox. You may call me Miss Mary if you like. Where are the flower gardens?
The other side. The north blooms at this time of year.
Where's the locked-up garden?
There's no door into it, so you can save yourself the trouble of looking.
Of course there's a door. If there wasn't a door, it wouldn't be locked.
Don't go poking your nose where it's no cause to go.
I think everyone in Yorkshire's mad as a hatter.
Ah. You cheeky little beggar. As you started courting this early in the season.
He answered you.
Considered himself my friend.
I never had any friends.
Then we're a good deal alike. Neither of us good looking, and each of us as sour as we look.
Do you think he'd mind being my friend, too? If you'll be my friend, I'll be yours.
You said that as nice and human as Dickon talks to his wild creatures.
You know Dickon?
The very blackberries and heather bells knows Dickon. The foxes show him where their cubs lies. The skylarks don't hide their nests from him. Off with you. I've work to do.
I think I'll go look for the door into the locked garden.
Yeah, all you'll find is brambles and thorns.
We shall see, shan't we? You're Dickon, aren't you?
Aye. I was waiting for you, Miss Mary.
How'd you know my name? And how'd you know I was going to be here when I didn't even know myself?
Sometimes wishing makes things happen. The crow is Soot. The fox is Captain. The lamb is Lady. The squirrel is Nut. And the rabbits just happen to be passing.
Those are strange names for animals.
It's what they asked to be called.
Animals and birds can't talk.
There's ways of talking that don't take words. I've gathered some wild mustard seeds for Ben Witherstaff. So if you don't mind company, I'll walk back to the manor with you. You're sad and lonely now. But in time, you'll find happiness in Misselthwaite Manor.
No. I shall never be happy there. And I don't want your company nor anyone else's.
Your bed's turned down and the room's all cozy. Listen to that wind.
I looked for the door into the locked garden again today, but I couldn't find it.
Why trouble yourself when there's so many other gardens you can go and play in?
I like to know about things. Why was that garden locked up?
But for that garden, Mr. Archibald wouldn't be the way he is.
What do you mean?
You'll not repeat what I tell you.
You know I have no one to talk to except you.
All right, then. But mind you, I'm only telling you what Mrs. Medlock said, because this happened long before I came to work here. Mrs. Craven had that garden made when she first came to Misselthwaite as a bride. And she and Mr. Archibald would shut themselves inside for hours and hours, like two lovebirds.
Well, if the garden was such a happy place, why was it locked up?
Because it's where the accident happened. There was an old tree in the garden with a high branch bent like a seat. And Mrs. Craven, Lilias was her name, she loved to climb up and sit on the branch and read when she was alone. Well, one day, the branch broke, and she hurt herself so bad she died the next day.
And Mr. Craven was so wild with grief that he locked up the garden and threw away the key?
That's what Mrs. Medlock said. But how did you know?
I didn't. You just told me. If there's a key, there must be a door. And I intend to find it.
Someone must have left a door open downstairs to cause such a terrible draft.
You heard it too, didn't you?
I heard what? someone crying. I told you. The wind often makes a mournful sound.
No, it wasn't the wind. It was human. And if it wasn't human, it was a ghost.
It was the wind you heard, wuthering across the moors. Good night, Miss Mary.
Morning, Mr. Witherstaff. From my mother. She baked this morning.
My thanks to her. There's nobody bakes better bread than Susan Sowerby.
She'll be pleased to hear that.
And not a day she don't go looking for the door into the locked garden. But she'll not find it. 'Tis better so.
Have you ever been in the garden, Mr. Witherstaff?
We'll not talk about that garden.
Well, Miss Mary won't give up. There's a stubbornness in her. But there's also a need. I'm off. See you about, Mr. Witherstaff.
You have nothing to do when it rains.
Mrs. Medlock has wool to spare. You could knit.
I don't know how.
You could read.
I haven't any books.
Oh, there's thousands of books in Mr. Archibald's library.
Mrs. Medlock said I wasn't to go anywhere except in the swing.
The library is in a swing. But finding it's a bit tricky, so I'll tell you how.
What are you doing here?
Don't have to shout. I got lost going to the library. And, well, I heard someone crying.
Old houses are full of strange sounds.
I know what I heard. There was someone crying.
perhaps you're right. Betty, who works in the scullery, has been carrying on all day because she has a toothache. Come, I'll take you to your room.
Morning, miss.
Who are you?
Betty. It's Martha's free day and she's gone to the cottage to give her mum a hand.
Is your toothache gone?
Toothache?
The toothache you didn't have.
Betty, cook, wants you in the scullery. It's terribly muddy out because of the rain. I thought we'd go into the village this morning and buy you a sturdier pair of shoes. It'll be a nice little outing for you as well. I know you're lonely. When Mr. Archibald comes back, I shall speak to him and ask him to get a governess for you.
I had governesses in India. None of them stayed very long. They didn't like me.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true.
I don't lie. You do.
What a dreadful thing to say.
Well, it's true. You lied to me yesterday about Betty having a toothache, and there's something behind that tapestry that you don't want me to know about. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I just got the skipping rope from Martha last night, and I'm already very good at it.
Well, maybe there is some child's blood in your veins after all.
I've decided to skip 100 times without stopping.
Ah.
1, 2...
Pride goeth before a fall.
94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 90... Have you begun courting yet, you cheeky little beggar? Are you looking for food? The key. And if there's a key, there must be a door.
The Secret Garden will resume on the Hallmark Hall of Fame after these messages from Hallmark.
Sending Christmas cards is one of the season's most cherished traditions. And with so many special holiday messages to choose from, Hallmark has just the right cards to capture what you want to say this Christmas.
Olive, I bought you a little something, too.
Shoebox greetings. A tiny little division of Hallmark.
Hallmark?
How nice. I tried to pin down what you wanted for your birthday, but unfortunately, he was much stronger than I was. Oh, Edith, you crushed me.
Shoebox greetings. If you go for cards like these, you gotta go to Hallmark.
Cut the cake. There better be a man in there.
I'm Connie Chung. He's just a regular guy who finds a mistake in his computer and ends up in the middle of an international spy ring. The funniest spy caper ever, tonight on Saturday night.
The famous Teddy Z, Monday.
And now, the continuation of The Secret Garden with Barrett Oliver and Jadrian Steele on the Hallmark Hall of Fame.
It's my garden now. My own secret garden. Good at making things grow.
You can make things grow just by whispering to them.
When will it be spring?
Spring comes on sudden in Yorkshire. You'll wake up one morning and the moors will be all purple with heather. I'll go and turn your bed down now.
I wish I had a little spade.
Whatever for?
Well, if I had a spade, I can make a garden, a vegetable garden. I'd make it next to the big vegetable garden. It'd give me something to do.
There's a shop in Thwaite Village that has gardening sets for children. There's a fork and a spade and a rake all tied together. But it will cost 2 shillings.
Oh, I've got more than that, much more. My mother used to give me money on my birthday so I could buy a present for myself, but I never did.
Well, if you give me the 2 shillings, I'll give it to the butcher boy when he comes, and he'll pass it on to Dickin. Dickin will go and get your gardening set for you.
I've brought your garden set. If you show me where you want to make your garden, I'll be pleased to help you start it.
If I tell you the secret, will you promise not to tell anyone else?
Aye. If it's what you want.
I've stolen a garden. It was locked up and no one's taken care of it for ages and ages. and I'm not giving it back.
Our God's not for giving or taking. The garden belongs to all. You found the door. It was meant to be.
I was hoping it would look different than before, but it doesn't. Everything still looks dead.
That's how I thought it'd be. If you look deep, you see it still has a green heart. Could be others this wick, too.
Wick?
In Yorkshire, wick means live.
Even the thorny ones?
Aye. They've run wild and attach themselves everywhere. Some will have died, but the strong ones will be wick. And once the dead wood's cut away, there'll be roses.
There'll be roses.
Where have you been? Mr. Archibald is back and he wants to see you.
Why? Why does he want to see me?
I imagine it's about the governess. I mentioned it to Mr. Pitcher, and he said he'd pass it on to Mr. Archibald.
Come here. Now, don't be afraid. I know children usually find me frightening, but I'm quite harmless, I assure you. You're too thin.
I'm getting fatter.
You resemble your father. I only met him once when we were boys, but I remember him. I envied him because he was on his way to Harrow. And I was too ill to go away to school. Ill. I have always been ill.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Are they taking good care of you? You find me repulsive, don't you?
You look... You look different from other people, but not repulsive.
Different? Yes, I look different. If we met in the dark, would you scream and run away?
I might, but it would only be because it's the first time.
Honesty is rare. I value it. Are you happy here?
I like India better.
This is a sad house for a child. We accept what we must. Oh, I meant to get a governess for you. I forgot. I'll see to it now.
Please, can I go without a governess for a while?
Why?
Well, I'm just getting used to being here. And when I came here, I wasn't very well. But now I'm getting better. And it's because I'm out a lot. And, well, if I had lessons, I wouldn't be out as much. And besides, I'm ahead on my studies. I know French, I'm good at history, and I read a lot.
Very well. Governess can wait. Is there anything you need or want?
Please, could I have a bit of earth to make a garden? I love gardens.
There was once someone very dear to me, who loved gardens too. Take your bit of earth wherever you please. Go now, leave me.
Thank you.
Miss Mary?
Well?
I think he's the saddest man I've ever seen. Like the hunchback of Notre Dame, who died because he loved Esmeralda.
The Secret Garden will resume on the Hallmark Hall of Fame after these messages from Hallmark.
Hallmark has a special way to capture the memories of this Christmas. The 1989 carousel ornaments with dated collector's base. 4 beautifully detailed horses. Each week a new horse is available for just $3.95 with each $10 Hallmark purchase. Only at your local participating Hallmark stores. A new horse each week. Collect all 4 because the years may pass, but the memories always come back around.
Where do you find the feeling that'll say it just your way? Where do they keep the sunshine that can brighten someone's day? When you want to pull a heartstring, mend your fences with a friend. Where do you look for the laughter that you knew from way back when? Hallmark has a way to make somebody's day, bringing out the very best in you. When you let go, let 'em know, let your feelings show. True colors from the heart come shining through. Shining through. Hallmark has a way to make somebody's day. When you're close, when you're apart, know that you can speak your heart. Hallmark has a way to make somebody's day. When you care enough to send the very best.
When I was young, I always thought that Christmas was just for kids. Now I get excited by it through my own kids.
The upside is, thinking of your kids sort of rushing in, a little patter of feet, rushing into their presents and wrapping paper flying past your head. The downside is reading the instructions for some of those toys. Dads, you know what I'm talking about.
Passion has turned to obsession. The child is my son. Danger surrounds him, and it's never been so real. Will you help me? Beauty and the Beast, Wednesday.
And now we continue with The Secret Garden, this evening's production on the Hallmark Hall of Fame.
Are you a ghost? No, I thought you were. Stay away from me. I'm Mary Lennox. I came here from India so Mr. Archibald Craven could be my guardian. Are you sure you're not a ghost? Touch me. If I'm a ghost, your hand will go right through mine. You feel real? I am. Who are you? Colin Craven. My father's master of Misselthwaite Manor. Your father? Why didn't someone tell me he had a son? Because no one's allowed to talk about me. Why? Because I won't have it. Neither will my father. Why? Because I'm going to have a hump on my back like he has. Is that why you cry all the time? Yes. Don't you ever go out of this room? No. If people look at me, I have a fit and get a fever. I'm looking at you and you're not having a fit. I might. Well, you can save yourself the trouble. Now that I know you're human, not a spirit or ghost, I'm going back to bed. You'll stay. I've no one to talk to except my nurse, and she's away on holiday. I don't have to stay if I don't want to. You said you came from India. I want to know about India. You can read about India in books. Reading makes my head ache. Well, if I were your father, I'd make you read so you could learn about things. No one can make me do anything. Why not? Because I'm sick, and I probably won't live to grow up. Do you want to live?
Not if I go and have a hump on my back, like my father.
You're the cryingest boy I've ever seen. I'm going back to bed.
You'll stay till I say you can go.
You can't make me stay if I don't want to.
Yes, I can. Everyone has to do as I say because I'm going to die.
People who talk about dying are boring. I'm going.
You may go now, but you will come again tomorrow.
I might, if I don't have anything else to do.
You shouldn't have done it, Miss Mary. You shouldn't have gone looking for Master Colin.
Well, if you would have told me Mr. Craven had a boy, I wouldn't have gone looking for who was crying.
But no one is allowed to talk about him or see him.
Well, then how do you know I saw him?
Because Master Colin told me. I'm the one who has to look after him when his nurse is away. I'll be blamed for telling you and I'll lose my place here.
You won't lose your place here because I'm not going to tell anybody that I saw him. And no one's going to know except you.
But Master Colin says if you don't come now, he'll scream and scream until he brings the house down.
We'll see about that.
You said you'd come.
I said I might. Might is only maybe, and I don't care if you scream till you're blue in the face. I suppose as long as I'm here, I might as well stay.
Bring a stool and sit next to me.
I never had to do anything for myself in India. The English people are lords and masters there, you know?
No, I didn't know.
You don't know anything, do you?
Trying to see the lump on my back, aren't you?
Father, your lump. I'm just thinking about how different you are from Dickon.
Dickon?
He's Martha's brother. If she wasn't so scared of you, she probably would have told you about him. Dickon's not like anyone in the world.
Why?
Because he can charm animals and birds. He talks to them, and they talk back.
That's magic.
Dickon's my friend, the first friend I ever had.
Then I shall order him to be my friend, too.
You don't know anything, do you? You can't order someone to be your friend. They have to want to be.
How dare you permit a stranger in the sick room?
Oh, she's not a stranger, and I want her here.
Calm yourself, Master Colin. You know excitement makes you ill.
You're the one who's making me so ill. Go away.
You're to rest now. I insist. The vicar is ailing, so I'll get on to him and return tomorrow.
Yes, Doctor. Oh.
So, Miss Mary found our little tyrant.
Master Colin actually wanted her there. I always said what Master Colin needs is the company of another child.
What Master Colin needs is a father who don't treat him like another plague that's been visited on him.
Anyway, it's done. And to tell the truth, I'm relieved in a way. It's been no easy thing trying to keep Miss Mary from finding out about Master Colin. Still, it's fortunate that Mr. Archibald left for Cornwall this morning. Dr. Craven saw Miss Mary with Master Colin.
He won't tell. He's Mr. Archibald's cousin and down to inherit the manors one day, so he's not about to get Mr. Archibald angry.
Hey! We'll have none of that. I've known Dr. Craven since he and Mr. Archibald were boys. It was seeing Mr. Archibald suffer that turned Dr. Craven to medicine, so you just watch yourself, my girl.
Go and see what's keeping your brothers and sisters. Morning, Mrs. Medlock.
Morning, Mrs. Sowerby.
How's the little girl getting on, Mrs. Medlock? The one that come from India? Go and help your brother.
There are times when her rudeness and arrogance made me wish she'd never left India. Still, I suppose Martha's told you that.
My Martha doesn't gossip about what goes on up at the manor, but she has asked my advice about how to deal with the little girl.
I could use your advice, Mrs. Sowerby. After all, you have had 10 children.
Not 2 of them alike.
Yes, but even so.
Well, if it's not too forward of me, I will tell you what I told Martha. A firm hand is needed. But there's also the need to see what's behind it when a child acts up. From what Martha told me, there's a lot of hurt inside that little girl. Seems to me she's like one of those wild creatures that Dickon finds out on the moors sometimes, caught in a snare or a trap. It strikes out at Dickon when he's trying to help them, but in the end, he wins their trust with his gentleness.
My carriage is waiting, so I'll be running along. Good morning, Mrs. Sowerby.
For 2 days.
I like the rain. So does the garden. Come, I've something to show you.
They bloomed.
Aye. Crocuses and snowdrops and daffodillies is always the first to say spring's on the way.
When will the roses bloom?
Not till June.
Oh, it's only the beginning of April. June's such a long way away.
Aye. But when they bloom, there'll be curtains and fountains of roses.
Curtains and fountains of roses?
Aye, but not unless the dead wood's cut away and the earth is softened so they can drink the rain. There's lots to be done.
Well, tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it.
If you'll clean the flower urns, I'll bring fresh earth to put in them.
I'm going to tell you another secret, Dickon. There's a sick boy who lives in Misselthwaite Manor, and no one's allowed to see him. But I saw him.
It's Master Colin you're talking about.
You know about him?
Aye.
Did Martha tell you?
Me mother. Mrs. Craven fell from the tree, and the fall brought on her baby too soon. Me mother knows midwifing, so she was called in to help the doctor with the birthing. It was a miracle, me mother said, how Miss Craven held on to life long enough to bring her babe into the world. You still thinking about Master Colin?
He says he's gonna have a lump on his back like his father, and he'd rather be dead.
I doubt he means that, though he probably wishes he'd never been born, and that's just as bad.
Why?
Those that feel unwanted scarce ever thrive.
I thrived, and I didn't feel wanted. My mother didn't like me.
Did you like yourself? That's where liking has to begin.
I didn't even like myself. I wasn't pretty. And I wanted to be because my mother only liked pretty things. Colin thinks he's ugly, too. That's why his father can't bear to look at him and never comes to see him.
Poor lad. There's not been much joy in his life. Has he told him about your secret garden?
No, but I'm going to, Dickon. It'll give him something to think about besides feeling sorry for himself. What time do you think it is?
Oh, well past 3.
I've been out all day without stopping for lunch. Someone may be looking for me. Bring your animals tomorrow.
If they don't want to play on the malls again like today.
Where's Mary? Where is she? I want to see Mary. Where is she? Mary! Master Colin is causing a terrible fuss because you've not been to see him all day.
I don't have to see him if I don't want to.
Nurse Foxy's just back from a holiday and she's got things to see to. You've been doing her a kindness.
Where's Mary? Where is she?
I waited. Where were you all day?
Where's Dickon?
If you go to him instead of coming to me, I'll have him banished.
Who do you think you are, the Raja of Punjab?
If you don't come, I'll have you dragged here. You're mean and selfish.
You're the one who's selfish. All you think about is yourself and feeling sorry for yourself.
You'd feel sorry for yourself, too, if you had a lump on your back and you were going to die.
You say things like that because you want people to feel sorry for you. I was going to tell you something special, but now I'm not. I hate you! Good. Now I don't have any reason to come see you, and I won't!
Oh. I'm Master Collins' nurse.
I feel sorry for you.
If he had a vixen of a sister like you, he might get well.
I don't care if he doesn't get well. If we were in India, I'd put a snake in his bed.
The Secret Garden will return shortly on the Hallmark Hall of Fame after these messages from Hallmark.
You know, my family had this holiday tradition.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
We'd pick out a special new ornament every year at Hallmark to remember that Christmas by.
That's nice. So what should we get?
Well, it is our first Christmas together.
Whether you're just starting to make memories or adding to your collection, nothing captures them like the keepsake ornaments of Hallmark.
Boy, doesn't the tree look great?
Yeah, but shouldn't we hang it a little more to the left?
Hallmark has a way.
For us, excellence is an aspiration, an attitude, a pursuit, a way of life. Excellence is all of us working together, aspiring to the fullness of our potential, always in pursuit of higher standards. Determined to do everything we do somehow better than it ever has been done before. Excellence is found in the caring, in the trying, in the doing. It is our objective. We seek it with dedication. Excellence is the hallmark of this corporation.
Monday, right after Major Dad.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
In an episode unseen for 33 years. Light up the holidays with the I Love Lucy Christmas special. Monday. Tuesday.
Everyone I've met believes in Santa Claus.
He discovered the town where Christmas lives, and to save it, he has to rediscover his heart. John Denver in The Christmas Gift. Tuesday.
Tonight's Hallmark Hall of Fame continues with The Secret Garden, starring Jenny James and Derek Jacobi.
Collins worked himself up into a terrible state, and I can't calm him. I'm afraid he's going to do himself harm.
If you scream again, I'll scream too, and I can scream much louder and much longer than you can.
I only screamed because I felt the lump on my back growing bigger.
Can I feel the lump?
Certainly not.
I want her to.
Oh, let her, Mrs. Medlock, or there'll be no end to this.
Turn over. There's no lump.
Yes, there is.
You've just got a knobby spine and knobby ribs like I have. So if you ever talk about lumps again, I'm going to laugh.
I'm going to die.
Is he?
Well, the specialist from London said Master Colin would improve if he ate well and got out into the air.
You tell her.
You've been frail and sickly since you were born, Master Colin. That's all I know. I've always hoped you'd outgrow your ailments. I still hope. I'm worn out. Can you manage without me now?
I want you to go. You too. Only Mary can stay.
That's up to Miss Mary to decide.
Will you stay with me, Mary? Please?
Well, since you said please. But if you scream again, I'll smother you with a pillow.
And she would, too. Thank God Mr. Archibald is still away. Or would be answerable to him for this brouhaha.
Thank God indeed. I'd just as soon be spared another distressing scene.
You said you'd had something wonderful to tell me. Will you tell me now?
You don't deserve to be told. But I will if you swear not to tell anyone else. Nodding doesn't count.
All right, I swear.
There's a secret garden, and I've been in it.
Secret garden?
Yes. The door was hidden, and it took me forever to find it. But I did. No one had taken care of it for so long that it became a wild tangle. Everything looked dead. But Dickens said that some of the roses were still alive. And they bloom. There'll be curtains and fountains of roses. The first time I saw it was like an evil witch's garden. Ugly and scary. But Dickens and I have worked and worked, and now it's beginning to get beautiful. Everything was gray. But now, it's like a green veil hanging over the garden. A robin made its nest there, in one of the trees. I call him Beggar. There are holy men in India called dervishes who whirl and whirl until they go mad. That's what Colin was like last night.
It's being lonely that makes him act like he does.
I was lonely in India, but I didn't have fits like that. That's not true. If my higher governesses didn't do what I want, I'd have terrible fits. No wonder they didn't like me. I thought reading makes your head ache.
I'm just looking at the pictures. I told Nurse to bring me a book on flowers, and she brought this one from the library. But I can't tell what the names are.
Oh, flower books always use the Latin names.
Do you know Latin?
No, but I know a poem that was first written in Latin. I do not love thee, Dr. Fell, the reason why I cannot tell. But this alone I know full well. I do not love thee, Dr. Fell.
I like that. Do you know any other poems?
Oh, well, there are lots of poetry books in your father's library.
Will you read some of the poems to me?
I'll think about it.
You smell nice.
It's the wind from the moors you smell. Oh, it's springtime and out of doors smells so greatly.
I never heard you talk that way before.
I'm giving thee a bit Yorkshire. That's a Yorkshire lad. Doesn't understand Yorkshire talk. Oh, it's a wonder thou's not ashamed of thy face. Sometimes Dickon forgets and talks Yorkshire to me. I like it.
I'd like to hear him talk Yorkshire.
How can you if you don't want anyone to look at you?
I don't think I mind if Dickon looked at me.
You mean that?
Yes. Yes.
Well, wonders never cease.